Have you ever heard yourself utter the words, I am so busy, right? Those words just seem to roll off your tongue, come out of your mouth, and you actually take pride in how busy you are. Do you have the never-ending to-do list? I totally understand because that was me. You are going to love tonight's topic. This is 3 tips to moving from bogged down and busy to productive and free. Bogged down and busy to productive and free. My name is Suzanne Hart, and welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. This conversation is for you if you're looking for breakthrough strategies to help you reset your thinking. If you want to handle challenge, adversity, and change with ease, grace, and flow. Now, I am excited for you to join us. So as you jump on, and I'm going to just go check and see who is out there. As you jump on, please let us know who you are and where in the world you are joining us from. As you come on, also know what brought you out tonight, what interests you in this topic, and if there's a question you want answered, put that question in the comment section. Also going to ask you to let us know what you do while you're living and who you are called to serve. Who are your clients? Who are you here to touch, move, and inspire? As you jump on, also, this is a moment for you to share. Bless a life. Let people know that we are live and this is a conversation that you definitely want to be a part of. So I see Peggy from St. Louis. Welcome, beautiful Peggy. How are you? And I see Stacy and she's saying hello from Eastern Oregon. And if you see the view from this woman's patio, it is absolutely breathtaking. Hello, Karen McCoy, beautiful woman. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know there's going to be a few more people jumping on. So ladies, gentlemen, please let us know, is there something you want answered about this particular conversation? Moving from busy to productive and free. Yes, that's what we're going to talk about. If you're listening to the replay, definitely hashtag replay. And then go ahead and do the same thing. Put your comments in the comment section so when I go back and my guest goes back, we can really speak to your comments. If you have a question, something that particularly brought you out, let us know. Also, this is our networking opportunity. So do not miss the moment to put your information in the comment section. Who are you? What do you do while you're living, and who are you called to serve? Who's that divine client that you are called to touch, move, and inspire? So I'm excited to get our live going. So this is for you if the word I'm so busy rolls off your tongue with way too much ease. This is for you if you have that never-ending to-do list and you actually kind of take pride in having that to-do list. Today's topic is all about moving from crazy busy and overwhelmed to productive and absolutely having that feeling of freedom. Now, I have a guest tonight. This woman needs no introduction. She shows up here once a month to hang out with Suzanne. Please welcome our social media strategist, none other than Taria Hodge.
Welcome, 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 super achievers. Super excited to be here with you, Suzanne. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you on. Now, we must be doing something right because we were referred to as like Oprah and Gail.
I love that. Take it.
Someone said we have that Oprah and Gail type of energy, so I will take it. I see that Yetta has joined us, Taria. I see Cindy has joined us. I see Karen McCoy. Yes. I like that woman. She inspired me. She's inspiring. Stacy's out there. And of course, the beautiful Peggy Dunn is joining us as well.
Welcome, our supporters. Yes.
Yeah, all those women that are up to big things. Hopefully, we'll have a man that'll get into the mix and drop some questions so that we can get to both perspectives. So I really want to jump into this topic. And before we really start to unpack this, I want you to talk about your experience with busy and what you thought about when you said those words.
Oh my gosh. You know, it used to be my tagline, right? Like I'm always so busy, never have time. And actually my tagline is I always have work to do. Like that's my tagline. There's always work to do. Work never ends, right? And as we were preparing for this, one of the things that you reminded me of, I'm proud to say I'm no longer there, right? The computer does not sleep in the bed with me anymore. I've learned to create a clearing. But yeah, there was a time, like I literally believed that my entrepreneur's light should never be out. As an entrepreneur, always having, to be accessible all the time. And, I wrote a post about it the other day. Like whenever you saw me with my computer bag. I had a nice little bag with 4 wheels on it. And and I drug that thing like everywhere I went, right? And as soon as someone, called on the cell phone, wherever I was, whether I was in the car, I would pull out over to the side of the road, open up the laptop, and I thought as an entrepreneur, right, that's what it was all about. It was all about always being on all the time, having, all of these, things to do meant that you were successful, or meant that I was successful. And if I wasn't doing these things, somehow my business would fail.
Oh, wow. I'm listening to you and I'm already tired and overwhelmed. Going over at the side of the road and opening the computer.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So mine was when I worked, so let me just tell you how busy I was. So when I resigned from my job, I had close to 6 months of overtime. OT, girlfriend. I worked for half of a year part-time and got paid full-time because I had to clear my OT bank before I walked around with a pager strapped to my hip. And my favorite words were, they'd be like, how you doing? I'd be like, busy. Busy. It was my word. I was busy. Now, this was a crazy thing. I took pride in being able to be the multitasking, plate juggling, tossing, superwoman. I had the cape. I know. Karen's like,
oh, 6 months. 6 months all the time. What?
This is had a problem, let me tell you. So that was kind of where I was. And I just took pride in being available. Now, if you listen to last week's live, you will find out that I was I got close to burning out until I was in my doctor's office, and he had a few choice words for me, and that was the change for me. So I want to really unpack this for you and begin to just dive into it. And, the first thing I want to talk about is the whole belief that, these big to-do lists are actually the way we get things done. Yeah. Were you caught in that belief?
Oh, yeah. Like, it's one of those things, like when you sit and you look at all the things that you have to do, right? I was famous for doing this. Let me put it this way. I was famous for doing it this way. Like I look at everything. When I tell you everything that I have to do, and I would just write one massive list. And the crazy thing about it is, like everything on the list had to be done like right now. Okay. Wow. And right now, in the same day, everything was urgent for me, or at least that's how I looked at everything. There was no concept of saying, well, you know what? Let's take a look at when we're going to do this, or having a due date for this. Everything was due all at the same time. Like anyone could walk across my computer screen at any given moment, and there was like no less than 20 tabs in at least 3 browsers. Now, I want people to get that. Some people just have one browser and they got 20 tabs. Oh, okay. No, I got 3 browsers, 20 tabs in 3 browsers, and I'm calling myself like doing stuff. Okay. And yeah, and not good. And there was a point where I didn't sleep. I just used to take naps, so I would have like 3-4 hour naps, and then I would be up and at it again, calling myself, trying to do something, trying to tell myself that I'm being productive. Well, I learned very quickly that that's definitely not the way to do it. That's the quickest and easiest way. You get too stressed out, burnt out, and guaranteeing that you're going to have a stroke at some time.
and the point of this live is to really create the distinction between productive and busy. And they're two very different things. And they are also two very, very different energies. So I know for myself, I know when I had my to-do list and I had the never ending to-do list, I continuously was in a state of overwhelm. And I was also in a state of never feeling complete. So if you understand what I'm talking about, and please put incomplete in the comments section or a yes. And what I mean by never feeling complete is I never actually, or I rarely had the satisfaction of completion. I remember having a conversation with Cindy, and I said, the most empowering thing is completion, when you experience the success of completion. And we're really going to dive into how that moves you forward. And so for me, it was really just having all these things. And I would actually say, I feel so overwhelmed. I am so busy. And I want people to say, if you say the words, the language of it, I am overwhelmed and I am busy, there's an energy to it that doesn't feel good. Right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about productive. And I remember when we started working together, I think Turi was on the tail end of walking around the computer. And I see another one of my clients. So I have a client who will remain nameless unless the person decides to name themselves. But when I started working with them, they had not gone on a vacation without their computer.
Yeah.
And one of my first assignments was, you're going to go, and yes, you can take your computer, because there would have been total computer withdrawal and a crash. And you can only open it for the first hour of the day. Then you got to put it down, put it away, and you could only use your phone for the first hour of the day. And because there's this cycle and belief that that's what we do as entrepreneurs. So I want to define productivity for a moment, because productivity in the mind of Suzanne creates movement. And productivity moves you from point A to point B with ease.
Yeah.
And so when I think of productivity, so now my list has this thing called outcomes. And I know if you work with me, I'll ask you, what are your outcomes for the day? And let me define outcomes so that everybody gets this. An outcome is something clearly attached to a target or a goal that you see progress towards your bigger yearly, annual, monthly target, goal, vision. It has to create movement. So let me make the distinction. A to-do is dishes. A to-do is going to the post office. A to-do is laundry. A to-do is cleaning your house. A to-do is doing groceries. A to-do are all those things that, yes, they are to-dos. They must get done. But this is the question. Do they actually have to be done by you? So if you are worth $300 an hour, and I know there's some $300, $400, $500 people on this live right now, that's their hourly kind of digit. If we were to break it down, not that they charge hourly, but just for the concept, would you spend your to-do time doing those tasks, your business time doing to-do tasks? No. So for me, there's this distinction between outcomes and to-dos. This is where I moved from productive to busy. And I want you to share what happened when you did this.
Yes. So
I don't, hold on, I'm gonna finish and then I'm gonna ask you to share. I don't run around with your computer anymore. So when I started doing outcome tasks, I delegated my to-do.
Mhm.
And I remember because I was making very little money and I had a beautiful assistant, and people were like, "You have your own personal assistant?" And I was, yeah, she does all the to-dos so that I could create the space to do the outcome driven activities. Now I'm productive. So what happened for you when we created that distinction for you?
So, and I'm smiling because I like how you defined your to-dos as the dishes and running to the post office. Those weren't my to-dos, right? I still had, things to do that related, to business, right? But I think one of the things that helped me really understand, like you said, is understanding, my worth and looking at my value and where should I be spending my time. And I actually had to learn how to take, like you said, take an outcome. So there's this thing that we're working towards. So under this outcome, there's, steps. And there's, probably a whole bunch of other stuff that needs to be done that would get us to this outcome. But it's actually doing the analysis and saying, what are the things that are absolutely necessary for Taria to do?
Ooh.
Like if Taria,
put that question in the comment section.
Yeah. So and it was really huge. Like, what are the things that cannot be done, by anybody else? Like at the end of the day, the only person who could do it, it's me. And the thing about it is, like, when you ask yourself that question, you will find, right, that there are very few things that absolutely have to be done by you, right? So it's either you task it off, you outsource it, you get it off the plate, you train somebody, to do it, and it frees up your time to do the income producing things in your business. So that was the biggest aha for me.
Now, did you notice, because this is where productivity has you thrive. Did you notice, I know this for me, was that, so I got my to-dos that were very task oriented, make the house, make the car run, make my life run off my plate, delegate it.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I went to this level, I delegated the things that, yes, had to be done in my business, but as you said, didn't have to be done by me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This was the interesting thing. As soon as that happened, business became productive and fun. And this is why. The things that I kept were my passions.
Yes.
The things that I kept had me on purpose.
Yeah.
The things that I kept were the things that I could do to, like, we got to check time because I'm so excited doing this thing that I got to go, okay, we're shutting it down. Not because I no longer want to show up.
Yeah.
Because I lose track of time. And this is why I say, productive and ease, grace, and flow go together. Because when you really get this idea of delegation and clearing the deck, what you keep is passion and purpose.
Yeah. And it's so important that you're saying that, because one of the things that we've been working through for me is like streamlining my business, right? And it's like, I don't mind sharing with everyone. Once again, coming into this space of entrepreneurship, you hear so many things, like you should be doing all of these things. I promise you, there are 1,000 models, and what I try to do was execute on 1,000 different models in my one business, all at the same time, right? And it was really having the ability to step back and say, you know what, like you said, what are the things that I'm passionate about? What are the things that allow me to show up, as my best every day? And the things that I know, like when I put my hands on it, when I'm finished with it, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be great because it's getting the best out of me. And it's to be honest about that, because we all have stuff in our business that we know we don't like to do. We don't like to do it. And so the even before we start to do it, the mere thought of doing it puts us in a negative mindset, puts us in a funk, and then we begrudgingly, go at the task, right? And then what happens, because we don't want to do it, we're not passionate about it, we don't even like it, it just drags on and on and on and on and on. And then it keeps us out of our zone of genius. Right.
Absolutely.
And so that's one of the things that I had to learn. Like, okay, as I'm building this business, what are the things, like, how can I build a business, around, things that I purely love, things that I enjoy, things that allow me, when I show up, I shine, I'm at my best. Now, even though I've identified, what those things are, there's still other things that I might not like to do that make those things happen. It doesn't mean I still have to do everything. But once again, is asking yourself the question, what are the things that I absolutely have to do? What can I get off my plate? How can I build a team? How can I train? How can I outsource? How can I partner? How can I collaborate?
My word, collaborate.
That's another beautiful thing that I'm experiencing, this year, is just, the collaborative piece of it. And so now it allows me to think about more people in my network and say, oh yeah, how can I serve? How can I, bless this person? Or how can we come together for this great outcome? And being able to think about it, going into projects, being able to, trust and bring other people on, and serve, at optimal level.
I want to dive into that for a moment, because oftentimes the reason we don't collaborate is because we're thinking of the pie is only so big, so scarcity. Right? Pie is so big, and I love that Yetta's on, because the Deckers are fabulous at this. Is expanding the pie, and bring more people to the table. And as you bring more people to the table, the pie actually does get bigger, because we're sourcing from all our networks. We're doing all these things. But what it does is it creates this concept called leverage. So if Karen's part of the pie, and Stacy's part of the pie, and Yetta's part of the pie, we've got a bigger pie. We're serving more people, but all of us are in our brilliance, our sweet spot. And what happens is we're passing clients and different things. Things are getting done, but there's this energy of brilliance. So it's almost like you got the mastermind meets business, meets productivity, and magic happens. So for me, when I think about it, I always say to people, I'm going to go stir the economy right now.
I love it.
I'm going to go play and stir the economy, because I know that when I stir the economy, I win. And we have this concept that if I give away, I'm taking from me. No, if I give away a part of it, I'm expanding it for me, and I'm collaborating and creating a bigger pool. And so one of the ways that I stay in absolute productivity and ease is that I've got my collaborators that I give things to. Here, can you do this part? I was just on the phone, and so we had a conversation about another collaborator, and I was like, ooh, we may need to work with you. And I know, expand the pie, because she needs some of our expertise. I know we need her expertise. We've just expanded. So I really want you guys who are listening to really think about stirring the economy and lightening your weight and leveraging productivity, time, brilliance, talents, networks, expertise. It's so much. And now you're sitting in that productivity zone.
Yeah, and what I really wanted to say about this is that it's such a conscious, thought. Okay. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I remember probably about 2-3 years ago, reading the book Company of One. And when I read the book Company of One, one of the things that it shifted for me, right, was thinking about, oh my gosh, how am I building, the company? And so one of the things that, even like I said, stepping onto this journey, there's so many different models, so many different things, that you hear out there in the market, in the marketplace. And we are tasked, or we try to task ourselves with all of these things. And very rarely do we give ourselves the opportunity to kind of step outside of the box and think, like, how can something else be different? Like, how can we get to the same outcome and not go through, all the steps that other people, it might work for them, but it might not work for you, right? Or might not work for me. And so that was one of the things, like, when I read the book, I was like, what you mean? Like, I could actually decide to be a solopreneur? Like, oh my gosh, that's not what I read in every other business book. There's like solopreneur, then you got to build your team, and then you got to have a company, processes, and then you have this big conglomerate, right? And I remember the book was so freeing and so liberating, and the author, I can't remember the name of the author, but the author was just like, no, you can make the choice, to be a solopreneur, and have a business model that's this, and it's based on collaboration. So you could still serve your clients, optimal level, but how are you going to get it done? Like you said, the word of the day is leverage, right? So how are you going to leverage other people in your network to come up with those solutions?
There's two things that came out of what you said, and one leads us into one of our questions. I want to, before we go into schedules, I know I said the word, so everybody listening, if schedule is that word that you're like, I don't do schedules, I'm a free spirit. We're going to talk about schedules and productivity for you. I want to talk first about less is more. Mm-hmm. And I remember the to-do list, proud of my never-ending to-do list, although it made me miserable. I was very proud of it. It was one of those, things that, I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'm doing it. And when I started structuring my day and really living from a daily action plan and a schedule, I started this thing of how many things I could actually get done in a day, because I wanted to experience the joy of completion, right? Training the mind to look for success so that the mind starts creating success. It's that circle. So I started like, I'm going to put 8 things on my list. Never happened. Going to put 6 things on my list. Never happened. Going to put 5 things on my list. Never happened. I was starting to get worried. The sweet spot for Suzanne, believe it or not, is 3. Mm-hmm. This is the magic. And people are like, how 3? So 3 is my magic number. 3 big goals a week. 3 big goals a day that lead to those big goals for the week. And 1 to-do that, it's just me, I got to get it done, right? So that was it. And to-dos, if I didn't get to it, no big deal. 3 outcomes I wanted for the day. So 3 outcomes, one kind of to-do thing. And this is what amazed me, Taria. When I had 10 things on my list, I felt like nothing got done. When I had 3 outcomes on my list, I got the joy of check, complete, woo-hoo, yeah. I went into each day like, oh, I'm so proud of myself. I had my little morning routine. I had my check, got them done, workout, and then I would go into my 3 outcomes I wanted for the day. And sometimes I get 2 done and move 1 into the next day. But I only was focusing on 3 things. What happened was I had the experience of movement at the end of each week. And then I would look at my week, tally it up, and build my next week. And I became, like, I know people kind of go, how do you get all this done? 3 things. It's that simple.
But it's a lot. But 3, if you, like I said in the beginning, my challenge was, like, when I take a look at planning my week, right? And so let me just give a brief backstory. One of the things that troubled me, when I tell you troubled me, on this journey is how do you set goals and accomplish goals, right? Because I was that person. You set the same goal every year for how many years and you don't hit the goals. So it
Right.
started to become like a rub for me. Like what am I missing here? What's wrong? Okay. And so one of the things that I realized that I was famous for was putting everything like on one day. And like
Mm.
you said, you have a whole laundry list of stuff. You got like 50 things to do on Monday, right? So even before Monday starts, you have anxiety on Sunday because you're thinking about the 50 things that you got to do on Monday, not realizing that you could prioritize and then you could chunk things and you could break things down over the course of each day. And so it's like when you take a look at it, if you do 3 things a day, 5 days a week, that's 15 things that you've accomplished a
Right.
week, right? You take that 15 times it by 4, that's 60, things moving you towards your goal that you've done for the month.
And you
Okay.
and you experience movements. One of the comments, Tria, and we've got, people are so relating to this topic. I see, Karen McCoy saying, "Me too." Stacey's like, "Guilty, it's me."
And I think Peggy's out there saying it's all a learning curve that gets me so off track. Yeah, Peggy.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about the learning curve, but also the making space for the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason 3 things became the magic number is we all know. So 3 things for the week and 3 things a day that move you to those 3 things for the week. Because we all know that the unexpected call is going to come in, the client emergency is going to arise, the unexpected booking is going to happen. And so when you just put 3 things on your schedule, you're creating space for the unexpected. And the unexpected doesn't derail you. So that's the first thing. And the other thing that makes this happen is the word NO. No.
Oh my gosh. Full stop. No pause.
No explanation. No, I don't do that. No, not now. No, I gotta book an appointment. No. And so for me, it was learning to guard my space so I could remain productive in ease, grace, and flow. So this brings us in to the schedule. Now, Tria, I know when I say schedule to people, they get bent. And people are like, I don't do schedules. I'm free flowing. A schedule doesn't work for me. What was your take when I talked to you about we got to build you a schedule?
Oh my gosh. So I'm an island girl. That's number one right there. So if you know anything about island people and or if you have an island friend, right? Island people don't stick to no schedule. They don't have no sense of time, no nothing. They just kind of blow with the wind and then they wonder how come nothing gets done, right?
Right. And there's no such thing as island time. I hate to tell you. Okay.
So that actually used to be me, just like, oh my gosh, no, I want to be able to have, here's the funny part. I want to be able to have the freedom, to do all the things that I want to do. But the way how I was doing stuff, I still didn't have the freedom to do the things that I wanted to do. And so actually understanding, not just because this is what I thought a schedule was. I thought a schedule was taking all your to-dos and then putting them on Google Calendar and attaching times next to them.
Well, that sounds painful. That sounds painful.
So I thought that's actually what was scheduled, right? And then until I met you and I said, no, darling, no, that's not how you do it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna really schedule you out and we're gonna map you out. And it's one of the things that I tell people, all the time. I talk about my morning routine. I love my morning routine. And since I got present to my morning routine, I've noticed things shift in my business because I'm getting, the time that I desire,
Mhm.
to have as an entrepreneur, like to get up in the morning, read, exercise, sit, have the cup of coffee, go out on the veranda, spend some time with, I have a grandbaby now, y'all, spend the time with the grandbaby before I start my day, you
So,
know?
so let's stop there for a minute because I
Mhm.
imagine there's people going, "What kind of business you run and sit, have coffee,
Oh, yeah.
exercise, all this thing?" So this is the place I want everyone to go to as we talk about this. So let's define the purpose of a schedule for a moment and why a schedule. So most people don't like schedules because a schedule has traditionally been imposed on them by a
Mhm.
job, a school, or whatever. So I want you to think of schedule as you deciding what you pull into your day and for how long. So it's
Mhm.
all about you. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want you to think about is that if we are on all the time, it's a recipe for crash and burn. Also, it dulls your creativity. So, one of the reasons anybody who works with me, I help them build out a morning routine because this is your fill your cup time. This is the time where you step away from your business and one day off a week minimum, right? Step away from your business, clear your mind. And usually, when you're clearing your mind and you're not thinking business, it's like magic drops in.
Mhm.
Yeah. Ooh, I just had this brilliant
Oh,
epiphany
yeah, yeah.
because you are clear. So it's the morning routine is your fill your cup up. And whatever day of the week you step away, and it's almost like you clear out the noise
Mhm.
and your mind gets to go to that creative, free, unpressured place. Now, this is all built in the belief that there is abundance. So when you're away from your business, you're not going to miss anything,
Yeah.
right? And I tell people if you go to the bank at midnight, nobody go answer the door because they're closed. If you go
Right.
to the bank at 9:30, chances are, particularly on a Sunday, they're closed because they have hours of operation. That is because bank people don't want to get burned out.
Yeah.
And it's the same for us. So that's the first premise. That's the first premise. The second part is the power of a schedule. This is where I sit with it. It teaches you to honor your time.
Yeah.
We can't manage time. So people go, I'm managing time. We don't manage time. We master who we are in the 24 hours called time. So it teaches you to honor and think through those 24 hours, 7 days a week. One. The second thing is when you and I start to honor our time, and I would like you to speak to this, we begin to teach the world
Mhm.
how valuable our time is. And then people don't mess with your time. So talk a little bit about that shift in your business.
Oh, yeah. So huge shift because it's stages, right? So once again, you say that you're going to do these things, but you don't respect it. So when you don't respect it, you teach people how to treat you, right? And so if I say that I don't take calls before 10 a.m., and the minute someone calls, they're like, oh, da 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 da. And then the first thing, oh, let's meet at 8:30, let's meet at 9. No, right? No, I don't take calls until 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I do, then it has to be really important and there's no other time, right? Or no other solution but for me to take that. So that's the exception. It's not the norm, right? And so I remember when I first started saying that and vocalizing it. So it's like I had it on my schedule at first, desired it, but was too afraid to communicate it.
Wow.
Okay. And so, by not communicating it, then people just figured like, oh, okay, then I'll do. No, it's blocked. You can't get no. And then I started to verbally express it, like, no, I don't take calls, before 10 a.m. And smile. And people are like, what do you mean you don't take calls? Like, no, I don't take
Mhm.
calls before 10 a.m. because this is what I do with my mornings. And I remember the more and more I started to have that conversation, the more I saw people like, oh wow, that's a great idea. Like maybe I should do that, right?
Mhm.
And I said, yeah, it allows me to really charge up, be present,
Yeah.
to be my best self for when I get on at 10. And so when I'm on at 10, then you get happy Taria, because Taria is rested, she's already prayed, she's exercised, she's read, she's journaled, and I've done all the things that Taria wanted to do for the day. And so that I think the problem that I used to face is that I would put all the things that I want to do at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
then the day just kept running on and on and on and on and on. Right. And then there's this feeling of, dissatisfaction,
Right.
happiness, because I felt like I've served everyone and still left me undone.
And
Right.
Karen saying, I love this. There's Facebook who's saying this is really good. This is great. This is great content. And it's so practical. Did you notice, I know for myself, when I really started honoring my schedule, I became present. And what
Hmm.
I mean by that is I was 100% no matter where I was. And I didn't have split loyalties, because when I built my schedule, and I want everyone listening to hear this, I had family time on my schedule. I had parent time on my schedule. I had Suzanne time on my schedule. I have all these things. Now, not all of them happen every day and every week, but they're
Right.
built in. So what it allowed for were people weren't fighting for my presence, because they already knew when I showed up for them, phone went off. There's no sidebar. I'm 100% yours. So I have a question. I want to ask you to share another thing. Talk about Sundays off.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah. So I think, let me just tell all of our super achievers who are watching. So Suzanne called a power company in St. Thomas, y'all, and she had a conversation with the power company. And what she told the power company to do, right, is to cut off the power on Sunday. So I couldn't work on Sundays. Right. And so once again, it's that thing, like you're telling yourself that, oh my gosh, there's things that have to be done. And so what I would do is I look at my week, and I have my goals, my outcomes, and then there would be times that there would be things that aren't done, right? And so the tendency used to be, well, okay, I'm not going to roll them over to the next week because I don't want them to go to the next week. I want them to go to, I want to finish them up before Monday comes, right? And so it was like a gradual progression for me. And I was just like, oh, well, okay, maybe I'll get up, I'll do Sunday mornings, and then I'll stop, right? But like I said, Suzanne called the power company. So I actually experienced like a string of Sundays of literally not doing anything. And it was like the weirdest feeling. I'm just going to be honest. It's like the weirdest thing, like to get up on Monday morning and then you go like, where did I leave my computer? You're like, I didn't turn it on, on Sunday. Like I left it on Saturday after social media Saturdays, right? Like I don't even know where it's at. But I have to say, one of the biggest Karen says, oh Lord, no power. We
Yeah,
call it
girl.
power.
Now, I wish I had all that power to call. I called them on the telephone. I called them like,
But one of the challenging things, and it really made me get present to this, right, is the anxious feeling, that came along with it, of not doing anything. And I had to even shift my mindset from telling myself that no, it's not that I'm not doing anything. I am doing something. I'm giving myself the opportunity to rest, recover, recharge, let new ideas, come in. So by time Suzanne speaks with me on Mondays, I'm just like, girl, you know what? This is what we're gonna do. Da, da, da. So that's the power, like, of the recharge. But I have to admit, right? Like,
Mhm.
having that day where I don't touch, the computer, I don't look at anything business related, was kind of unnerving, because in my mind, I'm just like, oh my gosh, the whole world is going to fall apart. No, the world is not falling apart. Everybody's going to be exactly where they're supposed to be when you turn on your computer on Monday, doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and that's it. So to be okay with it.
Karen like reminds me of my cell phone. Keep it charged up. I love it. I love it. So this is the other part to this that is also so important. I want everyone listening to remember why you became an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anyone here that became an entrepreneur to work 24/7 and have no time for family, quality time, or friends.
Right.
And so part of my belief system is I know what it's like to work hard. I did that for corporate. I did that when I was in social service. I've done that. I'm going to work smart, but I'm also going to live in the moment. And so what I became present to is tomorrow's not promised.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to arrive at my so-called end of the journey with things,
Yeah.
but neglected the people that are important to me. So for me, it really, the time off is also about, I remember you talking about spending the day with your mother
Mm-hmm.
and spending the afternoon at the beach with your daughter and your grandchild, and how much joy that brought you. And the question was, when was the last time you gave them 100% of yourself with
Yeah.
no distractions?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really interesting that you put it that way, right? Because when you take a look at it, not to say that, clients aren't important, right? They are, but we give them 100% of our time. So like, when I take a look at how I conduct calls, I conduct my classes, like, my family knows this is a time that I'm
Mhm.
working, right? And so they respect that. They give me that time when I'm working, no disturbance. Okay. And so why should they have to, DV their time with phone calls, or, oh, I gotta go ahead and do this? No, right? It's a clear shut off, and I have to say, that's one of the most beautiful things, being home for the past, I can't believe it, year, almost 2 years, what year and what, 6 months, 7 months, right? Just being able to say, hey, at the end of the day, 7 o'clock, that's cutoff time, right? And I vocalize that to my family, like, at 7 o'clock, this is when, I shut down, and I just watch my daughter, like, it's 7 o'clock, and she'll come and she'll put my grandbaby right in my lap. It's grandbaby time. And I love it. Right. By the
Yeah.
time I turn around, my daughter done shut my computer. She don't care. She done shut it down. So that's it, mom. It's over. Like, if I book a day and I said, hey, this is what we're going to do today, my youngest daughter, she's just like, this is what we're doing today. Let's go. I'm not trying to hear it. Right. And they deserve that, because at the end of the day, this is what, it's all about. Like you said, we didn't get into this journey, to be on more than when we were on a 9 to 5. That's the funniest thing. You worked a 9 to 5 and you was like, oh my God, this job is driving me crazy. I need time freedom. And then you come over here and you give yourself everything else but that.
Mhm. And I think the thing is, one of my biggest learns on this journey about productivity is, I was reading today, and I'm reading a book about the power of subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And one of the things that reminded me was that we don't get more from doing more,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we don't get more from willing more.
Yeah.
We get more when we relax into and expect more. And so I think one of the things when we are entrepreneurs, the mindset is do more, do more, do more, get more. Truly, it's not do more that gets more.
Yeah.
It is relaxing into abundance and learning how to produce and have more impact with less time. And then you create this momentum and magic happens. And I know, people will look at me and go, you're always so laid back. You're always so easy, flowy. And part of it is I've created the environment for that to expand. And I think it is, and I'm very protective of that environment as well, because I love my friends. I love hanging out and spending quality time. And I'm the person, like when I go visit people, I leave my phone in my purse. It's gone. It's done. Cause we hang out now. It's me and my people time. When my parents come, my parents were just here. Phone went off,
Yep.
and I hung out with my mom, and we did all sorts of nonsense. Right? And it's such a joy. But when I go back to produce, I am locked and loaded, because in the middle of that, magic happens, and I always download abundance. I always download something new. So, part of the reason, because every single person that's listening out today that I can see is definitely a super achiever. And as super achievers, we have challenges, not juggling plates and spinning balls while we're walking and driving and doing all those things. We truly do. And we are up to big things. We have big visions for our lives and our families. And we are called to have impact. But how we have impact is also very key, because each and every one of you that's listening is also a model for a woman, entrepreneur, a child, somebody who's going to walk in your footsteps. And I want to invite you to consider, you want to model abundance. You want to model what's possible. You want to model joy. You want to model harmony, using, the Decker's words. You want to model harmony, so that you live an abundant life. And they say, this is what it's about. Yeah. This is what it's about. So Tria, last words. What do you want to do?
I just want to piggyback on that for a little bit, because it's very interesting. One of the things that, as entrepreneurs on the journey, especially if you're a new entrepreneur, you kind of face people, not supporting or being as supportive as they should, or like some people say, they don't see the vision, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the thing: what is it that we're painting, for them? What's the picture that we're giving them to look at? Right. So even though our words might say, this is a business, I'm building time freedom, I'm building a legacy, I'm doing all of this stuff, does your action, your demeanor, the vibe that comes off of you say stressed, burned out, angry, mad, frustrated, right? And then people looking at you like, why would I want to do that? I'm just going to stay over here and just take my chances with my 9 to 5, right? And so it's, it's learning, how, to do this thing, called entrepreneur, how to rethink what we define as success, and
right,
what we're going after. So
yeah, I think it's Peggy that's saying create the momentum, and it is so true, and I think I love what you said, because we get to build it,
yeah,
right? And the thing about entrepreneurship is there's no rules,
yeah.
really. There's rules for success, but there's no rules of how it has to look. And so We get to design it. We get to build it. And if that's the case, build something that creates an abundant, juicy, fun life where you get to move through it with ease, grace, and flow. Tria, this was fun. This was fantastic.
It always is.
Thank you so much for hanging out. And for each and every one of you that hung out with us tonight, thank you so much for joining us. As we part, please put one last comment about one thing that you're going to implement in your life as a result of this conversation. So you were listening to Unstoppable Mindset. This is my girl, Taria Hodge. She's with me at least once a month. We sit down and we have conversations just like this. We create breakthrough strategies for super achievers who want to reset their thinking. These are the individuals who want to live an abundant, juicy, amazing life, and they know they've got to navigate challenge, change, uncertainty, and they want to do it with ease, grace, and flow. If you want to have a conversation and continue this conversation with me, we will put a link in the comment section where you can sit down and create a mentoring moment with me, and we'll just continue this discussion. You can tell me where you're stuck. I'd be happy to serve. Also, if you go into the description of this live, you will see our free gift, which is a Mindset Mastery mini course. Definitely take a look at that because it all starts here, right? As I said, I am Suzanne Hart. This is Unstoppable Mindset. We are here every Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe my guest next week is none other than Miss Yetta Decker. That conversation is going to be on. It's going to be popping. I'm so excited.
I love when Yetta is on.
We're gonna have fun. And as we part, please put your comment, like, share. And if you want to continue this conversation, knock on the door of Mindset Mastery for Super Achievers. That's our group where we hang out. We'll definitely let you in if it's your first time hanging out with us and be part of this amazing conversation. So remember, please know you're brilliant. Please know you are oh so very special. And we all do this work because we know the world is waiting. The world is waiting for you to put your unique gift into the marketplace. Blessings, and we'll see you next week.
All right, take care.
Bye, everyone.